Welcome to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, the podcast where we dive deep into the journey from vision to reality. I'm Kelly Jackson, your guide on this path of self-discovery, transformation, and intentional living. Here, we explore everything from mindset shifts and personal growth to spiritual alignment and entrepreneurship, sharing insights, stories, and actionable wisdom to help you live a life in harmony with your dreams. Every episode will dig into what it means to not only dream big, but to actually consciously create the life you envision. Let's turn your dreams into real life. Okay, friends, on today's episode, I'm going to be joined by a special guest. He is responsible for managing a $203 million budget, 500 student athletes, and anywhere from 300 to 3,500 people, depending on the day. Without any further delay, let's jump right into this conversation. All right, guys, welcome back. I am here today. I've got a special guest, Verge Ausberry. He is the executive athletic director and executive director of external relations for the LSU systems. And I'm also very honored to call him a friend. And I'm so grateful to have him sitting here with us today. And we're not going to be talking about football, guys. We're not going to be talking about football. Verge is a very interesting man, and there's a lot of things about him that I respect, and I think people need to hear some of these things that we're going to be talking about today. And every time we have a conversation, I walk away feeling lit up. He has great energy. I'm really excited that he's here with us today. I'm going to hand it over to him. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about what he does, and then we're going to dive into this conversation. We're probably going to cover topics all over the place, but I promise you we're going to have a good time. So, Verge, why don't you tell him a little bit more about yourself? The mic is yours.
Thanks, Kelly. And glad to be here today. When I do these type of things, I always like to tell people about, who I am outside of that long title you just read. I'm Verge Ausberry. I'm from New Iberia, Louisiana. I was a single child growing up. Both parents are educators. Both parents came from sharecroppers' children. And so I came a long way, and through my family, being educators helped me understand the value of education and what it is and the importance of it is. And I was able to pass that on to my children. I was fortunate and blessed enough to be a good athlete and a good student, and was able to come to LSU, play football at LSU, and had, played professionally football and World League football and things of that nature. But I was able to finish my master's degree and my specialist in higher ed administration and all my PhD coursework. So that was a blessing. I have two boys. One play here football at LSU. Another one play at Notre Dame. Been married for 23 years and a family, and just we just like I say, just let things roll in my life, and it's been great. You have adversity, ups and downs in life, but the thing is, though, your spiritual life and deep spiritual life and faith and trust in people, you let that take its course, and my purpose, to do good things for people. Every day I wake up, I try to make somebody's life better, and a lot of times we take things for granted, and that you sit back and look like, wow. When you walk somebody on the football field, or you walk somebody in an athletic venue, or you introduce them to an athlete or a coach, we take that for granted. And I always tell my children, don't take those type of things for granted, because you're blessed and you're in that special percentage. And God gave you the talent and the ability and the intellect to be successful in life.
So many little gems just in that you said. And I love it. And it resonates. And you mentioned spirituality. And that's one of the things that I love. Verge has a group on Mondays. He sends a Monday motivational text first thing in the morning before the sun even comes up. And I love being on the receiving end of that. And sometimes it's about spirituality, not always, but definitely that's something that's included in those messages. And what gave you the idea to start that Monday motivational text? Because I really do love getting those.
You know, I have an executive coach, and he's a good friend of mine, and we talk a lot. And you find out that the higher you move up in life, the lonelier it gets. It's very lonely at the top. People might not realize that. You have a lot of people that you're friends and associates, but you have really a true group of friends. You have a lot of associates, a lot of people you meet. And I think about it, people who've been very successful and doing great things. Sometimes you need that little motivation. You need that little bump on a Monday morning. And people take it for granted that, okay, he's successful, he's this, he has everything that he wants in life. But sometimes, you need a little pep talk. All of us do, no matter where we are in life, no matter how successful we are in life. You need that little pep. And that's what it does. It gives that Monday morning group, hey, Monday morning, here's a new day, a new start, a little motivation to get you through the week. And sometimes some people relate to it that day, and people come back later, and sometimes be later months. Somebody say, you know what you sent me, this really got me through this week. So it might not be at the time that it's needed, but sometimes it comes in handy at the right time. And that's why you do that, and that's why you send that. That's the education part in me. That's the teacher in me, trying to educate and help people. But really a support system. Because life, as you know, in being athletics, there's ups and downs. You win and everything good. You lose the first game, everything's bad. And it's part of life. And, you can't sit there and dwell on it. You can't dwell on the bad things. You have to move on. I learned from great coaches, from my coach, Bill Ausberry, to Nick Saban, who's one of the best, and Brian Keller's the same way. Hey, you make a mistake, you have to move on. And that's life. Things happen. It's not the decision you make, but making the right decisions.
Yes.
And that's it. So everybody makes decisions, and you have to make that decision right. And so that's the thing I do on Mondays, help people. And during the week, I send some things out to people also. And, it's a broad spectrum of people. It's unbelievable. I keep it confidential, that list. But it's something and they send me little things back at times too. But some things you just need to hear when you're riding by yourself, or at your office by yourself, or you sit at your desk, or you're doing something, or you're working out sometimes, you're jogging, just like, you know what? That's a good quote. I want to send this to everybody to make sure that they're getting to understand and people hear, wow, I needed that today.
Oh, yeah. I know it comes through for me like that. And I love, too, that you take the time to put it all together. And I'm telling y'all, he doesn't miss. He doesn't miss. It's consistency. So I do enjoy that. One thing that it reminds me of, and I mentioned this to you before, but Napoleon Hill, I'm sure many of us have read his books, but in The Law of Success, I think in the very first chapter, he talks about the importance of a mastermind and having just kind of what you talked about, that group of people that you meet with, that you collaborate, that you have those masterminds with. And I love it. I love the idea. Now, mind, body, soul. So we talked just a little bit about the spirituality side. I want to talk about the body side, the fitness. And this actually doesn't just limit itself, though, to body, because we also do this for our mental health. We also do this for our emotional health. However, are you okay with me sharing your age? Because we talked about it the other day.
57 years old. I'm happy about my age.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, too. Wasn't going to do it without asking. So Verge is 57 years old. Y'all, he is high-level position, right? I mean, he's all of the stuff I read to y'all earlier for Louisiana State University, and traveling all the time, hopping on jets, going to games, all of this stuff. You know what he doesn't do? He doesn't make up excuses for not prioritizing his fitness. He's 57 years old, high-level position, traveling all the time, has a family, still prioritizes his health and fitness. Guys, I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about this, but this is so important to me. Y'all know this is close to my heart. Movement is medicine and all of this stuff. And so
I train for longevity. I train because I want to live a long life with the quality of life. And I feel like you do the same thing. So let's talk about it.
You know, as an athlete, a high level athlete, you train at a different level. You train at a high level. And then when your playing days are over, you don't really have to train at that level anymore. You're like, wow, what am I going to do now? So it was a few years that I didn't train as hard as I train now. And then my good friend, Scott Woodward, who's the athletic director, we started jogging together. We started 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, and just regular jogging. And then I started picking up some other things. I say, jogging gets kind of old and boring sometimes. And you get older, your knees on the concrete, you start feeling your body. Let's do something different. So a friend of mine brought me to a yoga class. I'll never forget it. It was on Chime Street. And the teacher there was a lady, and I could call her name. Allison McGee was my teacher. And Allison's a good friend of mine. And I walked in. I hadn't seen Allison in a while. In fact, we marched together in the best dress ball or the cancer ball in town. I saw her, and I'm like, I hadn't seen you in 4 years. I said, you teaching yoga? She said, yeah. So I went in there. I tried. The friend brought me there. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to blow through this here. It's going to be easy. It's like an easy workout. I walked out there and I looked at my friend. I said, man, what did you get me into? So that was my first taste of yoga.
Yeah.
And it just took over. And I just started going more and more and more and enjoying it, mixing in a lot of my other workouts. I have another friend, we do stadiums together. A group of us do stadiums together. And I really enjoy and love the stadiums. And it's something where it gives me my time. And it's an hour of my time. So what I started doing, and so I have a lot of friends who are cardiologists and people like that, and I have a cardiologist, and we talked about those things. He said, you got to keep yourself in shape. You got to keep your mind and your body, and you got to be healthy. It helps clear the mind. So every morning, I give an hour to myself doing something. If I have a meeting at 8 o'clock, I'm going to do it at 6 o'clock. And sometimes I double up. Sometimes I do something in the morning, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a yoga class or something in the evening. Because I think you're fit. Keep your mind clear, you're healthy, you're not worrying about those type of things, and things could happen to you. Things I tell people, you could work out all day and you could drop dead tomorrow, but at least you're in shape. I tell people also, make sure you go and get physicals, going to the doctor and checking your body and checking what's going on in your body. It's not the doctor's fault. You have to you got to get in tune with your body. I went through a little bout about 5 years ago of the AFib, a flutter, and people can't realize sometimes when their heart get out of rhythm. And I was able to do that and detect that something's not right. And the cardiologist say, well, when I went to cardiologist, kept saying, well, you're great. You're in good shape. And nothing's wrong. We can't tell anything, but then it could jump out of rhythm. I could catch it. He said, not many people could do that. And I was able to catch that and feel it and get it corrected. And didn't stop my workouts, and my workouts helped me get through that. But, we all could have some issues, but you want to be in the best shape possible when those issues come.
So what do you say? Because people often use age as an excuse. Even in their mid-30s, age is already an excuse. In 40s, and of course into 50s, right? People use their career as an excuse. They use having a family as an excuse. So, what do you say? How would you guide them or encourage them to prioritize fitness? I mean, because it's common.
It's everybody. It could be, don't have to be an age thing. I think people come up with excuses and they just don't want to do it. And I think you have to be very disciplined, and you have to be a little different. You have to want that in your life and want that to be a part of your life. And get up and you want your health. You want your glucose levels to go down. You want high blood pressure, anxiety, those type of things. You have to move around and do something, no matter what age you're at. There was a lady in town just passed yesterday. She was 107 years old, and she started running the Senior Olympics at 100. She started running and getting out and moving around. So we have to do that. That's what the bodies are for, and to take care of your body. And your body's a temple. So you look at it spiritually, your body's a temple. So, they want your body to be in great shape, and you want to be in good shape when you're doing things. And it clears your mind. And giving yourself, you have to, if not, no matter what you're doing, especially high-stress jobs like most people have. If you're a doctor, you're a police officer, you're a fireman, you're an athletic department, you're a president of a university, no matter what it is, a principal, a teacher, it's all high stress. So you have to relieve that stress some kind of way. And if you don't work out, if you don't do something, then you're opening up yourself to many other diseases also. So you need to get the blood flowing and stay healthy. But more importantly, like you said, your mind, your mental health. You have to be in a clear head when you're making decisions. You're making important decisions. We're responsible for about 300 people in the athletic department, about 500 student athletes. On a football game day, it's about 3,500 people. So
those are big numbers.
You make big numbers and you're making big decisions. And those decisions, you have to have a clear mind. And working out also calms you down. That's what the yoga does. It calms you, keep you in a calm mindset. We all had these issues and problems when we were coming through the business, and you make decisions fast. Shoot from the hip, real quick. You got to make a decision. When you're young, you try to impress people and show people what you know and how much you know and how much you could talk. And at the point sometimes we even get rude. And when somebody's talking, you interrupt them and you start talking. So by slowing down, clear mind, you can listen what the person is saying, get all the information, and then try to make the best decision possible. And like I said, you don't have to always make the great decision. You got to make the right decision at the right time. And those are things that working out do for me personally. I think we do for a lot of people. Keep their minds clear. Because people think, well, I don't have time. No, you do have time. You do have time. Get up a little earlier. Go to bed earlier.
What do they say? Try rephrase that by saying, it's not a priority to me.
That's right.
When you say I don't have time, they're like, well, we'll just say it's not a priority and see how that feels. Because really and truly, if we prioritize our time, structure our day in a way where we just make that a priority, then there's always time for it.
Kelly, my thing is as a manager, as a supervisor, and I never people. I don't ever say I'm the boss. I work with people, and no matter what level you're on, I work with you. But if you work out though, and you do things, and you take care of your health, then you have a healthy workforce, and that's important. People are not calling in sick. People are not calling with problems and those type of things. And everybody's giving 100% to their job and what's need to be done to make you successful, make the program successful. So a healthy workforce is very important. So you're a manager position, you're at a high level position, you should want your workforce to be healthy.
Yeah, well, I love that you are in this position and you're leading by example, because I'm sure that's one of the things that you do realize is important for you to be in a leadership position, is that people do look up to you for, like, what's Verge doing?
Yeah, and a lot of people are amazed, especially when I do the stadiums. They laugh a lot. They be like, you stick every step of the stadium? I say, yeah. I say, it's fun. And they're like, no, it's not. Now I got flashbacks when I was playing football. We used to have to run the north part of the stadium. And that was a bad mental thing for me. It was back then in the 80s. You had to carry people on your back. You had to carry weights on your back. You had to go all the way up to the top. That's all illegal today. They put people in jail for that today. But it used to be brutal workouts back then. So I get flashbacks sometimes in the north end zone. I'm like, wow, I got to go back to this north end zone again. But it's health, and it's a mental thing for me. And I tell people, do what you could do. It's not a race. If you want to walk a mile a day, I say just take an hour. Take a slow walk in the park. You want to ride a bike. If you want to swim. If you want to go elliptical. You want to go to a workout facility. You want to lift weights. You want to do yoga. You want to do Pilates. I mean, you could do anything you want to do, but just get active and do something. Even if it's walking around the mall for an hour, just walking. Keep walking the mall. Do things. So you don't have to be this person, professional athlete type workout deal. Just somebody who moves around, and it helps you. It helps society as a whole. It makes a more healthier society. When you look at some of the problems we have as a state in Louisiana, especially health is always we always rank last in that. And that's some of the problems. And then what we put in our bodies, that's important also. People, look, I like ice cream. I love ice cream. We're in Louisiana. Never I say don't eat fried foods. No, you're going to eat fried foods in Louisiana. That's just the way we are. But, you have to monitor how much of that you eat. You have to prioritize how much you're going to put in your body. So on weekends, I kind of splurge. I do what I want to do, eat what I want to eat. But during the week, I try to cut back on some carbs. Don't put any carbonated water into my system. And just try to live a healthier life. Watch how much alcohol intake you have, those type of things. All that's important to this whole mind, body, and your health.
Oh, 100%. Like, absolutely 100%. It's a holistic approach. It's you got to be looking at what you're consuming, what you're eating, what you're watching, what you're listening to, the people you're surrounding yourself with. All of this stuff matters, and all of this contributes to your overall health.
It does.
Your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health. If you're around people, if your friend group and your peers are always active in some way, you're going to like join them for a walk, or like, yeah, well, I'll play pickleball with you, or, you know, you're going to do it. And if, on the other hand, right, that's not the case, then you're probably not going to be as likely to do it either. I think this is stuff we all know, but you know what they say, common sense isn't always common practice. So, yeah, it's good to be reminded. Okay, now this is interesting. So you played football in college, and now here you are. So you were a student athlete. It wasn't even just about football, what I'm about to say. So you were a student athlete, and now here you are a generation later, because now you have children who are student athletes. And so, and not just that, but you're also in a position where you're dealing with all the student athletes. So what is the difference, the big difference that you feel like from when you were a student athlete, aside from you have to carry people up the stadium steps on your back, to these athletes now? Like, what do you think? Because now there's so many because this is about entrepreneurship, and I mentioned we maybe get into a little bit of that in branding. So what do you feel like now with these opportunities, or just the difference between being a collegiate athlete when you were and now that your boys are, and these other student athletes that you're managing? Because it's different.
Worlds apart. Not even close.
Yeah.
You know, we came out of school, we were just happy to have a scholarship and free education and free meals and a free place to sleep and hang out with our friends and play football. And when the coach say run through the wall, you run through the wall and you listen to what your coaches say and the structure. It had some good qualities to that. But people today, you know, the world has changed. And a lot of people, they're like, well, I wish we could bring it back to when it was that way. No. I'm more progressive now. You learn more. Science has taught us a lot of things about the body, what goes into the body, workout, training, all those type of things. Your brand. Now student athletes have, you know, revenue sharing, they have NIL, those opportunities. So your brand, people came out, and science has got us to this part right here. And people try to fight, you know, change. Change is good. I like change, and it's changing for the better. It changed for the best. You know, my kids have an opportunity to do what they do, the opportunities they have, the brand they have, the workouts they have are totally different. The workouts they're doing now is the workouts that I wish I had yoga back then. Right. Players are doing yoga and Pilates to help the body, to heal the body, and how fast the body heals. Science with stem cell research and things of that nature. How you can hurt ankle, you could take it and you generate the stem cells in the ankle and get the person back healthier quicker. The medicines we use, the things we put inside of us, the drinks we put in us, keep us from dehydrating, those type of things are just a totally different world. So, you know, at LSU, one thing that we do, and Scott Woodward, myself, and Kelly, and all the rest of the executive team, we welcome change. We like change, and change is for the best. And it's putting student athletes on a pedestal, putting the university on a pedestal, but also helping them attain the things that they want to attain. And yeah, you get your degree, but also, you know, how far we could push you to be a better person when you leave here better, and the person give back to society. You know, those things are important, and that's the difference we have now. The differences we have now than what we had when I played. It was just play, and there's a game. And, you know, you expose us so much more now with TV and technology and those type of things, you know. Young lady like Livy Dunn, you know, she did a commercial the other day for some company. It was 50 million hits.
Wow.
Just think about that. 50 million people hit on her name.
Yeah.
And that's the brand. That's the brand of LSU. And that's what we want to promote. And we don't want to take away from this here. You know, we work with people in the entertainment business. You know, how we help these people sit down and do an interview like I'm doing with you right now, do a podcast, or you want to be in film, you want to work in the movies, those type of things. So we're educating people now beyond and much farther than what we had. And these young people today also, Kelly, much, much smarter, much more advanced than what we came about. So comparing to us, we didn't have those type of things. People say, you know, how good are you to your kids? It's not a comparison. They're much better than me. They had better things. They were better equipped. Science and technology had moved on and put people in better positions in life. It's no different from medicine or anything else that you learn over a period of time. This is best, and this is best for our bodies. And so that's the differences I see right now, which is moving in the right direction. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people fight it. A lot of people hate change. Change is hard. And when you're changing, you're moving things, and especially as fast as things moved in our business, usually it's like a battleship, turning a battleship on land. But now it's sailing, and it's moving so fast, and things are instant. I mean, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, things have totally changed, and we like it.
I like it too. You got to be adaptable, ready to pivot and to adjust, and for sure. Okay, so you mentioned in that conversation, I heard that with these student athletes, they've incorporated yoga and Pilates into their training now. Okay, this is amazing. Yoga is something, I'm kind of like you. So I was an athlete my whole life, I would say, never on a professional level or anything, or even a collegiate level. However, I was an athlete my whole life, different sports, never heard of yoga even. And it wasn't, I heard of it before. I always say like yoga found me. And, it kind of found me at the point in my life when it was meant to find me. I had heard of it before. I had a girlfriend, a really dear friend who had discovered yoga, or yoga had found them. And I remember they were like doing this challenge, and they were going to yoga every day for 30 days. And I was like, what even is that? And why are you doing it every day? And then when I did find it, wow, did that change my life? You said something earlier where you said, your body is your temple. This past weekend, I was at this amazing event experience. I told you about it. It was called Aligned Awakening. And we were in a yoga class there at this event, festival, I'm not sure what you want to call it. And one of the things the teacher said while we were flowing, and I loved it, is my body is my temple and asana are my prayers. And, it is a moving meditation. And when you're moving through your yoga class and you're flowing, you're not in your head. And I think this is what sometimes, and probably me when yoga found me, the way it got my attention was by all the Instagram poses, these beautiful poses on the beach or on the whatever. And the gymnast in me, the artist in me, the creator in me was like drawn to it. I was like, wow, they're making art with their bodies. This is amazing. And I was a gymnast growing up. And so there was something about it, the handstands, that was like pulling me in. And then once I got there, I realized what it was really about. And it was about coming home to myself and this sacred union with myself and all of that kind of stuff. And so I think that there are a lot of people that might look at yoga or have heard of yoga or have seen yoga, and they don't really understand what it's about. It's not about the poses. It's not about the poses at all. I think about what that teacher said. My body is my temple. The asana are my prayers. It's a moving meditation. For me, it's this celebration of what my body can do, that I have this mobility in my body, and that I am free to move in my body without restriction, and I can breathe life into those parts of my bodies that are tight. There's so much more there. So what are your thoughts on that? Because do you feel like some people might have a misconception about what yoga is?
Well, let's take it on a men's perspective.
I would love to hear a man's perspective.
Most men are very competitive, especially if you're an athlete. So that's when I first got into yoga. Like, okay, this is a workout, and I'm going there. I'm gonna do 100 push-ups, and I can stand on my head, and I'm gonna do this here, and you go there and you're like, whoa, you're not breathing. It teaches you how to breathe. Because most times you lock up and you get tense and you're working out, you're lifting weights, you're not breathing, you're pumping weights and things. And it really changed, your perspective and your mental perspective about what it does. And talking to guys that say, Verge, you do yoga? I'm like, yeah, I do yoga. Like, it's a lot. I say, well, why don't you come try it? And so most men are very competitive, and they think it's like, you have to be a game of strength. a game of power. And, people have power yoga, hot yoga classes, but it's not. It's about the breathing. It's about really getting your mind out of the place that where you are and into yourself, and then you just let it flow.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times whenever I feel myself competing, because I do have that still in me to compete, to win. That's what I do. That's my job, is to win. My poses are bad. My class gets bad. I forget about breathing. I get more into, okay, I'm going to get through this and I'm going to get done with it. And I think that's the problem that most men have when they go to yoga. And we have to really, it's almost like being a golfer. Everything about golf is opposite about being strength and power and hitting the ball as far as you can. It's about keeping the ball straight, keeping the ball in play. But it's technique, and it's the technique of keeping the club head down and hitting it slowly and speeding up without forcing it, not using all your muscles. And the same thing with yoga. You're not using all your muscles. You're using your mind and your breathing to get you through the poses. And good teachers will tell you, breathe through when you get tired and your arms get tired, breathe through it. Breathe through it. And then you know the value spiritually what the breath does for the body and how many breaths it takes to help the body get through the day, how many times you breathe a day, and how important that breath is to your life. And that's what yoga does. It helps you, get out of that mindset, but to breathe. And it's not about competition. There's things that you could do, Kelly, that I can't do and probably never will be able to do. I'm bigger and I'm thicker and some of the poses, but you do the pose that fits you. And so sometimes I like to just do my own thing in class. I know what the flow is. I know what's going to happen, but I'm going to do it in a different way that benefits my body. I like to communicate with the teachers about that. What could I do? And I see this pose here, like I can't do that, but what could I do that's equivalent to that? So those are the important things about yoga. You can't go in there with an ego. You got to drop the ego at the door. Most people walk in there.
Well, you can go in there with the ego, but
you're going to come out there a different way. So I tell
Exactly.
people, go in. Most people go in and they enjoy it in yourself. And it's not a competition. It's not where, I'm going to race. I'm going to be at the finish line before you. I'm going to finish this before you. I'm going to lift more than you. It's not about that. It's about taking care of your interpersonal self. And that's what's important.
100%. I love it. And I'm glad you mentioned the breath, because it is about the breath, that in following the breath and letting the breath lead and guide you and moving with the breath. And the breath, that's your life force,
Yes.
And the breath is the one thing that it is the first thing that you take when you come into this world, and it is the last thing you take before you leave this world. And it is the only thing that is with you. It is with you it is always with you, and it is freely accessible. And so guys, when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling anything, whether it's stress because you're holding a warrior 2 for 30 seconds, or whether it's stress because you've got a lot of responsibility in your job and a quick deadline and a lot of decisions you have to make, right? Regardless of what it is, you can come back to your breath. It's freely accessible to you, and it's there for you anytime to bring you back to center.
Yeah.
And yoga does help you with that awareness of breath and this just self-awareness in general, body awareness. I'm sure you've noticed that too. It's just so good. And the other thing, going off of what you were saying, alignment. That's the other thing with yoga. You were saying working out, it's the pushing through and the more of the force, and yoga's definitely flow and alignment. And that's why we always say yoga on and off the mat, because the things that you learn in class, you definitely take with you into the world.
You do. I've done that a lot too, especially in stressful situations, big games, things of that nature. Just take a breath. I was laughing the other day. I was telling someone about I was driving the car. I was looking, traffic was horrible. I looked at everybody in their cars. I people watch while I was in traffic. I didn't hit anybody. I wasn't on my phone, so I was just people watching. And I was looking at people, and everybody was just sitting there, and it was frowned up, and it was grabbing their steering wheel so hard. And I was sitting there, kind of a smile on my face, just like, you know what? I get there when I get there. I don't know why. I'm rushing to somewhere where I don't really need to be. I don't have a meeting, but I'm just mad because I'm sitting here in traffic and the traffic is not moving. So something up there must be going on. Something must be happening. It might be somebody in an emergency situation. You never know. And so you just sit there and I also learn from people that sometimes when you're thinking about people feel this way about you or somebody's saying this here, if you sit back, relax, and just breathe, it's not that way. And it becomes clear like, you know what? I thought it was going to be this way, and it's not. So sit back, relax, breathe. Any workout I do now, if I'm running, doing stadiums, lifting weights, doing stomach workouts, breathe. And my old strength coach used to tell us when we were lifting weights to breathe. And we didn't understand what it was at that time, but understand how much breath is important to us. And everything we do in life, just take a minute and breathe. You don't always have to be the first one to answer something, to do something, to move. Just take a step back and say, you know what? Let me think about this here. Let me take a deep breath before my response comes out of my mouth. And use that response much better, and it makes everybody in the room feel more comfortable, especially when you're talking to groups or talking to people, you're talking to staff, and, make them feel a part of it. And then they'll feel more comfortable opening up and talking to you.
Yes, because if you take a deep breath, it goes from being a reaction to a response.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't take that breath, friends, it can be a reaction, right? And I think the beauty that comes with age and the beauty that comes with this intentional practice and with self-awareness and all this stuff is that we start to learn how to regulate our nervous system. Right. And we start to, because I'm sure that's a big part of you doing what you do and doing it successfully and doing it where you have people who want to be around you and who want to be working for you, right? And who want to come here and be part of this team that y'all have. If y'all call it a team, I'm not sure, within
organization.
Your organization, yeah. And you do that because that's something that you've learned how to do. And because this is so important to me, and I'm sure in your career, not just your career at LSU, I'm saying your athletic career as well, you've probably dealt with people who have not mastered the art of regulating their nervous system. And then you've probably had experiences with people who have, and you've been on that journey as well. And so this is something I like to advocate for, the importance of really having that autonomy and being able to have that kind of control over yourself where your emotions don't control you and you're really able to bring yourself into this homeostasis, right? So how do you feel about that?
Everybody you deal with, and it's interesting you said that about staff. So we were talking about it the other day, dealing with people who think differently than you. Mm-hmm. We don't think all the same. I don't want anybody to think just like me. I want people with different opinions when they come into the table. And some conversations you have to have are easy conversations. Some conversations you have is difficult conversations. It's all about how you handle those conversations. Because no matter who it is you're talking to and what they feel and how they feel, you want to get them to remain on the team, remain part of the organization. And you want to just try to help them get to a point where you might not always agree, but you come closer together on where they're trying to get to. And you're trying to help that person get there and be successful. I always tell people, our business, everybody want to fire everybody every day. Coach lose a game, we need to fire the coach. You need to fire the coach. Well, you keep firing people and moving people on. That's a reflection of you as a leader. The people that you keep around, people that you help in their careers. And I went back to my earlier conversation about building people up and building their careers and letting them leave better than when they came in. If you don't do that for everybody you touch, then that's a problem. You try. Now, some people might not want it. They might not accept it. And they might not want to take that direction. But you should, as a leader, try to help make sure that when you're working with people or your organization, that you leave it in a better position when you when you leave. And the people that you're guiding and you're working with, that, when they leave or they go on with their careers everywhere, I love it. Now, people working all over the nation. You're doing very, very well and very successful. People are athletic directors now and in great positions, and them and their families. That's a reflection on, what you do to touch a person. So that's why you take the breath sometimes. There's little things you could say that could change the whole conversation. Little things you could say, people could interpret it totally different than what you interpret it as. So it'll be very clear when you're speaking to them in the right tone, when you're speaking to them, the attention, when you're speaking to them. People say focus. But a lot of times today, world, people talking to you and you're doing this here, you're on the computer and doing things. That used to be me. That used to be me.
That used to be me too.
Yeah, and it's rude.
Mm-hmm.
And first you don't think about it like, oh, okay, I just that's the way it is. I was texting and I was talking to her, or talking to him. Well, it's rude, and sometimes that person wants your attention. You talk about that Monday morning when I send out to people. Sometimes people just want to be, is there somebody out there that's listening to me?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people want to be heard. And that's why a lot of people are confused. They're not heard. Nobody's talking to them, and they're not talking to anybody, and they think their voices are silent. And we have to help make sure that get everybody's voice out there, that they'll be heard. And the more people are heard, the better it is for society, the better it is for your organization, the company, whatever you're working with.
Absolutely.
You're giving them a platform. You give people platforms and you let them fly. Let them do great things. Let them show their talents. And everybody has different talents. Mm-hmm. Some people could get in front of a microphone and speak all day. Some people don't like to do this. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people like to be in the front. Some people don't like to do it. In a way, I'm a shy person. I've learned how to do these type of things, but growing up, I was like, you know what? I'd rather walk behind the benches than go in front of everybody to walk. And just as time comes, you develop those talents, and those talents come out. And but everybody's different, though. You have to accept that. I think that's the problem. Some people don't want to accept the differences of people, and you have to do that and help them, no matter how we think, no matter what we do. And I want people to think different. Differently, especially for me. I want them to, tell me something out there that's different. It might not be the right time for that at this time, but eventually, that might be a smart idea. So no idea is a bad idea. No idea is a dumb idea.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my mid-level managers, don't criticize people. They're talking to you and they're speaking to you something. Just open up to those ideas and say, hey, what do you think? I like doing that a lot with a lot of younger people. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me the reasons. And a lot of times they're talking about, well, this guy didn't make this right decision, and they don't realize that, the financial situation, they can't make that decision.
Yeah.
And sometimes we take it for granted. Where I go back and say we take things for granted sometimes and not knowing the whole picture. You have to know the whole picture before you start making some decisions. And that's where the yoga helps you. You take those steps back. You get the plan. You get to see it. And yoga opens it up more to where you say, you know what? That's why we made that decision. That was the right decision we made. It helped everybody, and everybody came out. Everybody might be as told, like, you can't make everybody happy. As like I said, there's difficult decisions you have to have, difficult conversations you have to have at times. But at least you get a person to the point where they could be, okay, you know what, I can live with that.
The difficult conversation thing, communication in general. Okay. I actually want to say two things. I want to go back first to what you were saying, because I was the same way with the distractions. And it really is one thing that I appreciate, just this conversation we've had, to be able to have, guys, eye contact's important. And I'm going to have Verge, because of this high level position he's in, he can probably tell you this, really tell you this. How much can you tell about a person by their ability to be able to take eye contact from you, right? Because don't you think that is a really important thing to be able to do, to be able to have a conversation with someone and look them in the eye? Because I feel like that's a really important thing to be able to do.
Two things, Kelly, we can't teach. And two things I can't make a person. Trust and integrity, which is the same thing. And so by looking you in the eye, shaking your hand, especially young people when I meet them, that's what I do. I shake their hand, firm handshake, not trying to break their fingers, but a firm handshake, but eye contact. You can't look people in the eye, then, it gives a little, what they're trying to hide, what they're trying to mask. So looking at people in the eye, how you handle yourself. And we've been trained to watch people when they walk in a room. When I walk in a room, I scan the room, how people are sitting, how you're standing. If your arms folded, if something is not defensive, what's going on,
Or your heart's closed off.
That's right. So I'm trying to figure out, when I walk in a room, scanning a room, I tell young people, when I walk in a room, we're interviewing you. It's an interview. You walk in there, you're not interested, your eyes closed, a hat on your head, things of that nature. So all that plays into that. So the eye contact is always important because you're looking into the person. That's the only way I got to look at you and to see what you're about, through your eyes. That's the only lenses we have of each other. Not all other body parts do that. Your eyes guide you to where you want to go, the direction you're going in, and things of that nature. So the eyes tell a lot about people when you look in their eyes, how bright their eyes are, how lit their eyes are, what in life, what's burning in that mind.
Yeah, it's true.
It also tells people who you can look at their eyes and also say there's problems there, there's issues there, there's pain there. All that is part of the eyes.
I agree. You can see it all. They say the eyes are the window to the soul.
That's it.
And I know another thing I used to do, and I'm really mindful to not do this anymore, is have sunglasses on when I'm like meeting or particularly meeting someone. I will always
take them off,
lift them up. Now, if it's bright, if I needed to put them on, but I pretty much will have conversations to people eye to eye. But that's something that I would leave them on the whole time, really just unaware of it. And I believe that through my intentional journey of self I've been on, just all of this is part of the self-awareness. But I really love that I've stepped into this era of life where I do have the awareness about this sort of things, because I do feel the connection, and I do feel the way that my life feels elevated now that that's more of just my nature of who I am, because I think that in a way I was hiding back when I had the sunglasses on or when my eyes were shifting. I remember a point in my life where someone who was really good with eye contact, it was almost like made me feel a little uncomfortable, like I needed to look away. But that was more of a projection of my own insecurities, some things that I was dealing with. So now I'm empathetic to it. I'm compassionate to it, but I do recognize it in other people. And what I recognize is only those bits of myself when I was the same way.
Yeah. I have a good friend. He's played in the NBA, a great basketball player. In fact, he's in the NBA Hall of Fame, the Naismith Hall of Fame, one of the best of all time. And I introduced him to guys a couple of years ago, and the guys had shades on. When I introduced them, he wouldn't put his hand out to shake his hand. And it was kind of strange. And he said, I'm going to shake your hand, but I just want you to take your shades off. He said, I want to see your eyes. He said, when you introduce me to somebody, I want to see their eyes, see who they are, who I'm talking to. And it was interesting when he did that. It kind of caught us all off guard. I'm like, but that is a true statement. Take the shades off. Because the shades are hiding something. Yeah. It is hiding something. And if you meet somebody for the first time, you want to look in their eyes and look into their face, and those eyes tell you everything about that person. They tell you if it's a defensive conversation, if it's an easy conversation, they're happy to see you, whatever. Your eyes, you smile, your eyes light up, they open up. So it was interesting when he did that. And it taught me a lot. I learned from that also. And when I meet people now myself, I pull my shades off completely. Yeah. I take them off and meet them, I fold them, put them down.
Same.
And I go somewhere. Now, if I know your period of time, we got shades on, that's different. But you should take your shades off because it opens up.
I'm with you. And you said, because you're hiding something. And again, I know when I was. And sometimes the things that we're hiding are only our own insecurities, our own feelings of maybe unworthiness or shame, or y'all, sometimes who even knows the things that are pain, just sadness, like the things that we just don't want to be seen, because I think we recognize the vulnerability of the eyes and making that sort of connection, which is great. Okay. So do you want to do a time check? Because I don't even have a clue how long we've been.
I don't even know what we've been doing.
Me neither.
It's 3:35.
Oh, we're doing good.
Doing good, huh?
We're doing good. All right. So let me just take a little second here. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the branding, just a little bit about branding. Now, you may or may not know if you're listening. So I am an LSU alumni myself. I have a bachelor in fine art. I have a concentration in graphic design. I am a graphic designer. I love the marketing, the branding. I love all of the things. And LSU is this really amazing brand. And this is what I want you to hear. That's what it is, guys. It's a brand. It's a university, it's a college. Yes, it's all those things. And it's also a brand. And so I want to, at least for the sake of this conversation, I want to speak on it in that context. It's more than just a brand, but that's how I want to talk about it right now. And I love this stuff. So I'm going to give you a quick little background. So I started a t-shirt company when I was in college. I had a silkscreen machine and all this stuff. And because I'm born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, LSU's always been a thing. So I had this idea that I wanted to make some shirts and things for LSU. I already had the screen press. And there's this whole process you have to go through with the CLC. That's the Collegiate Licensing Company. And so if you want to produce a shirt, say I had some ideas with this. Okay, here was one. It was more for kids, but you know how it was like it was just this little see you at the box, but it was letters and this little drawing, right? Well, the thing was, even though it didn't say LSU anywhere on it, the fact that the box is Alex Box Stadium and it was going to be known that it was that way, y'all, that still counts. So to be able to manufacture this, you would actually need to go through a process ahead of time where you submit your design and a prototype to the Collegiate Licensing Company along with a business plan. Where are you going to sell it? How they want to know all kinds of stuff, y'all. And there's a reason they do this, because it's important and it matters. And yes, it's a business. All of this. I geek out on this kind of stuff. I really love it. And this is, I like to pick Verge's brain about this kind of stuff sometimes. So I just want you to share a little bit about this topic because it excites me.
You know, brands are important.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what's the brand. Brand of people.
Oh, I like it.
Brand, you know, everybody think about the brand. You know, LSU is special. You know, nothing is bigger than those three letters, LSU. Okay? No person, no athlete, no professor, no Nobel Peace Prize winner, anybody, is LSU. But the people, though, generate and makes the brand and take LSU to the next level. The professors, the faculty, the staff, everybody works on that campus, all the different departments on that campus, the research that takes place, the important research around the world that takes place. It's just not, people think LSU, think about just athletics. That's a small part of it. We have 500 student athletes out of 32,000 students on campus.
That's just the Baton Rouge campus.
That's right. And 45,000 in all of the LSU campuses, the whole LSU systems. So we're a small portion of that. But all of that's part of that brand also. So those big buildings over there called Tiger Stadium and the PMAC and those other buildings and the box, as you said. But the people that perform in those places, the student body, as I said, that's the brand of LSU. The great students who graduate, the people, the alumnus, those who go out and there's a lot of constituents that make up LSU and speak on behalf of LSU and represent LSU. That's your brand. And people get caught up in the brand. Well, you know, you have to make that brand. And then every year you have to continuously make that brand what it is. You can't just relax and say, okay, we have a good brand. That's it. You know, corporate America doesn't do that. They go out and they find the people and they find the right things to do to keep that brand growing. How you make that brand growing. You talked about earlier about how times have changed over the years. What we've done at LSU to improve our brand. You know, look at LSU. Let's take African American students. You know, when I was there coming up in the 1970s, there was very few African American students on that campus. Now LSU is number 1 or 2 in African American students at public institutions in the country.
Really?
And
I didn't know that.
Yes, if we would graduate, if we was an HBCU, we'd be 3rd historical black institution, 3rd in African American graduates in the United States. So that's how the brand grows, and people grow and fall in love with the brand. And athletics was a part of that. The university is a part of that. A good institution is a part of that. And times have changed. And how you change that brand, how your brand could withstand to changes in time. That's the important part. So you can create a great brand. Look how many companies when we were growing up, Kelly, are out of business now. You don't even hear about it. Look at the typewriter. We don't use typewriters anymore. Okay, calculators. You very seldom use a calculator. A lot of things we used back in the day, you don't use today. So that brand is the people and how you change and evolve in your brand. Okay, that's the important part. Secondly, you're talking about the brand. We talk about the people, but your brand got to have people also around that brand to protect that brand.
Yeah.
Okay, and each of us individually is a brand also. You talked about the brand of LSU. Let's talk about the brand of us. Kelly Jackson has a brand. Verge Ausberry has a brand. Friends of ours have brands. You are a brand. When I meet with any young man or young woman who's a great athlete or entertainer, or whatever they want to do, musician, it's a brand. And yet, how you protect that brand. So the people you put around you, if it's your family, if it's somebody that you have a lot of respect for, or somebody that's a professional, that's the greatest in this industry, and you know what? I want you to be my mentor, okay? I want you to be the people that I could go to and ask the question to, and they tell me the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people, I call it your corporate board. That's what I call it. Everybody needs a corporate board, a group of friends around them. And that corporate board need to be the ones that tell you, not pat you on the back and tell you everything's great. They got to say, Verge and Kelly, you're making a mistake. You're going in the wrong direction. That's not the right time. I know you want to do this. It's not the right time for that. Like the old people used to tell you, I got a boogie in your nose or your pants are split. Tell me sometimes, and don't beat me up about all my faults. But just tell me, do you think that's a good idea? And why do you think it's a good idea? And to talk about it and discuss it. And sometimes they can say, you know what? Let's wait on that. It's not the right timing for that. So you have to have people around you. That's all part of your brand building. Everybody has that. I don't care how great your brand is. You can be Michael Jordan, who's the greatest brand there is. Till this day, look at his brand, how he's protected that brand also. I mean, this is a guy who hadn't played basketball in 30-some years. In fact, all the kids who wear his shoes now, they've never seen him play. Just think about that and where his brand is and how large his brand is. And, very few people have that. Very few people have a brand where you could say their name in one word, Shaq.
Right.
Brand, Tiger.
Yeah.
Your brand. You see,
Yeah.
you say that, their names, and that's their brand. And so to protect that brand, how you protect it, not only how you get to that point in that brand, but how you protect that brand so that brand will last, longevity of the brand. That's important. So anybody could create a brand, one night wonder,
Right.
one hit wonder, boom, you're the brand. And all of a sudden, the brand fades off. Musicians and every other profession you said happen all the time. So sustaining that from a Garth Brooks to, the great artists and entertainers of the world we know today, it's how you protect that brand, how you progress. And sometimes those brands get damaged and sometimes those brands get hit. And they all the big brands going to take a hit one day. And we take hits sometimes. But it's how you get back over that and how you build from that. So you have to keep continuously building the brand. And just not, here's the brand, here what I am, and here what I do. You have to change. I can tell you earlier, you have to be a change agent in that brand. How we progress, how we get better, how we do things, okay? When we win a game, Nick Saban's the best at it. When he wins a game, the worse he gets, the more pressure he puts on you, the harder it's going to get. But it's hard to win. It's hard to be successful. It's hard for a brand to last. How do we last for the long haul? Look how many corporations, Bed Bath & Beyond, closed down, shut down, with great brands when they open up. But very few stay up, like the Walmarts, the Targets. When you look at corporate brands, how they do it, the IBMs, the Coca-Colas, how do they keep that brand up where they don't go out of business, they don't go out of existence. You see brands change. You see fast food restaurants change, healthy menus now, things like that. One of the best brands and one of the best guys, and he's the wealthiest man in Louisiana, is Todd Graves. And I like to talk about that. His brand, what he did with his brand. Everybody's telling me, well, Todd, why don't you sell hamburgers? Why don't you sell hot dogs? Nope. We're selling chicken fingers. We're selling crinkle fries, Texas toast, and some sauce.
Period.
It's going to be hot.
You can get 3, you can get 4, or you can get 5.
That's it. And
Period.
They had a chicken sandwich. I didn't even realize that the one day I walked by. They got chicken. It's still chicken fingers on the sandwich,
Right.
And the sauce. But that brand, though, just think about it. That's their brand. And you travel all over the world, and people are raising canes. And we from here, so we take it like, okay. I go to a place like, oh, y'all have a Raising Cane's there, and I'm like, yeah. Oh, we got to go to Raising Cane's. And I'm like, okay. and it's good when it's hot.
Yeah.
And that's how he built a brand. You have to be disciplined when you're building your brand. You can't be all over the place trying new things and doing this here. Different people have tried many different things, and it's failed. Be good at what you're going to be good at.
Mm-hmm.
That's your brand. Be an expert in what you're going to be good at. A lot of times we waste time in our brand working on things that we're not strong at. Keep building what you're strong at. What you're not strong at, don't waste 70% of your time trying to get that to the level of what your strengths are. Your strengths are the one that's going to carry you in your brand. We waste too much time going back and trying to get things that we're not good at to be part of that brand and be the best. So that's I talk about people in brands.
Yeah, it's good. It's important information, everything you said. And look, I love the Todd Graves story. That I have some personal things about that story, like in my life, that's tied into. So he's one of the ones that I always go back to as well, as kind of an example of, because I know when he was first had this idea, people were like, no way, you're not going to make it.
He failed in class. He
Yeah.
gave him a C or D grade on it. The professor at University of Georgia.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love these stories. It's kind of what I talked about overcoming adversity and just knowing. And at that point, like he knew what he wanted the brand to be. And sometimes you got to lean in, trust your intuition,
That's
and be
right.
like, this is what I'm doing.
That's right.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. I think we've been chatting for a good bit. Do you have anything else that you can think about? Because, we've talked about yoga, and we've talked about LSU and a big brand, and about being at a high-level position and not making excuses for not exercising and prioritizing your mental, physical, and emotional health. And the importance of, like having a mastermind and or like a corporate, what did you call it?
A corporate board.
Your corporate board. Yeah, this group of we get to choose who we surround ourselves
That's
with,
right.
friends. And the thing is, even if in your life you might not have these people that personally, like Verge and I are sitting here face to face, but like when I first began this intentional journey to self and really like taking my life in another direction, and I maybe hadn't met or aligned with these people like you yet. It hadn't happened yet, but I knew that I needed to have these people in my life. Guys, that's when we have social media now and we have blogs now. And so I created my circle, and it's Brendan Burchard and it's Jenna Kutcher and it's these coaches and mentors. It's these people who this is what I wasn't using Instagram to like see what my friends were doing on the weekend. I curated a feed that was every day. I was surrounding myself with the people. I was like, if I got to choose the people that I wanted to like be in my circle, right? Like I'm going to choose the people that are, that every time I listen, I'm like, yes, that are just lighting me up, that are positive, that are, have integrity, that are making a positive impact in the world, that are serving, that are reminding me to live, laugh, matter, like all of the things. And you don't feel lonely, don't feel alone, don't feel like I don't know anybody. Yeah, you can create that community for yourself. And then when you stay at that vibration long enough and that becomes your talk, your dialogue, it just becomes kind of who you are, you will discover that you begin to attract, align, your energy gets to a place where you will start to draw it into you in your community where you're not just going online for it. And now, and it's wonderful. This has been my personal experience. And I just want people to hear that, because sometimes we want this. We're like, well, I want that, but I don't know those kinds of people. You don't have to know them personally to be in their community or to invite them into yours.
That's right. Kelly, keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate you.
I've watched you on Instagram and watch your story and what you tell and help people, young men and women. I think you have a lot of followers, and it's important. And we need more people like you. And you have the time to do this is very important to a lot of people.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here. This has been, I told y'all we would have a good talk. And
I might be biased, but I don't know, Verge. I think that was a pretty good talk.
It was a pretty good talk.
I think that was a pretty good talk. And I feel like you guys would have gotten some value information out of that. Now, let me ask you one more question before we head off. Is there anything that you've got going on? Is there anywhere that you want to direct people? Do you have a cause, something you're working on? Is there anything where you would send people?
No, not really. I tell people just help people.
I love
That's
it.
it. I don't need any more attention than I get. I get enough. The good and the bad. You work at LSU in the athletic department, you get all the attention you need.
Whether you want it or not.
You want it or not. So I just tell people, just be nice to people. Be kind to somebody. Touch one person. Just be, meet somebody new and try to help them and try to help people around you and try to make other people better. That's how you make your community better. Talk about how you make Baton Rouge better, how you make, no politician going to do it for you. Okay, everybody think this magic person, a governor, a president, a mayor, or anything like that. We the people got to be the ones who make our community better and the people we live with and just make our whole society better.
Oh, I love it. And make eye contact.
That's right.
And make eye contact. All right, guys, that was amazing. And yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It. I hope today's episode sparked something powerful within you. Remember, every step you take towards your vision counts, no matter how small. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a second to hit that subscribe button or leave a review. That would be amazing. Or share the podcast with someone who's ready to bring their dreams into reality too. And if you're looking to dive deeper, connect with me on social media at Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, or at BE_what you want. Or visit dreameditthenreallifedit.us for more resources on aligning your life, business, and dreams. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep manifesting your dreams into real life. Love you, friends.